Welcome to the series of introductory lessons related to the time value of money. My name is Brent Pritchard. I teach college finance courses, and I'm here to help you grasp this all-important concept. This introductory series is designed to help you learn how to apply the mathematics of finance in less than a month, provided you commit to one or more lessons a day. It's that easy. Acquiring the hard skill that is the mathematics of finance does not need to be hard. I hope you enjoy this fun new take on this age-old concept. And after you've done that, please consider telling your friends about this channel, TVM Rules, and the book, Would Your Boomerang Return, also known as the Boomerang Book, that made it possible. I like to start every class with a quote, so here we go with the quote of the lesson. Gary Whittington, also known as Whit, he's a best friend. He's my mentor. He's the guy who got me into running and writing. The list goes on and on and on. And he's famous for saying a lot of things, one of which is 5 miles is the new 3. We are truly on the home stretch of this introductory unit, and I've saved what just might be the easiest lesson for this one, and then only one to go. The focus of this lesson is decimal points, which can save you from losing points in the classroom and help you to be on point in the boardroom. There are times when extreme rounding just isn't acceptable. And this makes me think of all the committee proposals or white papers that I drafted and presented for investment recommendations in practice. Detail was of utmost importance. There's a time and a place. Similarly, you don't want to get into the bad habit of transposing a number. And I'll show you what I mean later in this lesson. So here's the real world situation. And we're given a quarterly rate of 1.25%. And I want to point something out here. The word nominal shows up. When I see the word nominal, I think simple. And again, if you've been following along in this introductory unit, then you know all about the building block true investment yield equation and the caterpillar rate, which is the simple investment yield. Some people might call that the nominal investment yield. So here's the real world situation, and let's get about drawing the TVM wallet. Remember, this is the solution to analysis paralysis. It provides the 3 simple steps to analyzing and evaluating real world time value of money situations. It helps visual learners like myself. And every window of this TVM wallet relates back to a certain TVM rule. So in the second window, which relates to TVM rule number 2, I'm going to write in lowercase I, which is the true investment yield, and uppercase N. In the third window of the TVM wallet, I'm going to write in PV, PMT, and FV. So PV and FV are keys on your financial calculator for single or lump sum or hypothetical lump sum amounts. PMT payment is used for an annuity or a perpetuity. And obviously the third window of the TVM wallet relates to the TVM rule number 3. And now in the first window of the TVM wallet, we're going to visualize like we do. And this first window relates to TVM rule number 1. So we need to figure out how we're telling time. Here's the abridged symbol, and we like to fill in the blank. So how are we telling time? We're telling time with a monthly time span in between period markers. And you might ask, well, why? Well, we were asked, what is the true monthly investment yield? And so we have flexibility in this example. If we wanted to, I guess we could use the true annual investment yield or the true quarterly investment yield. Now that's going to change things up. If we were to use the true annual investment yield, this becomes 10 years. If we were to use a true quarterly investment yield, this becomes 40. But we were asked to solve for the true monthly investment yield. So we're going to stick with the question. And so we've got $1 million today. This is the second part of the question. And we want to determine the future value. So we're going to circle that. Up here in the right-hand corner, I'm going to write the building block true investment yield equation. And we're going to talk about the caterpillar rate and the chrysalis rate and the butterfly rate one last time in this introductory unit. S, that stands for the simple investment yield. It kind of looks like a caterpillar, doesn't it? And so we were given a simple quarterly investment yield, actually a nominal quarterly investment yield, but that's the same thing. So that means that the effects of compounding have not been considered. And we were told that, or we were told to assume, I think that's what the question said, quarterly compounding. So let's call these different rates or yields by name. Let's start with the caterpillar rate, 1.25%. So 0.0125 is the decimal form of 1.25%. That is the caterpillar rate. But what is it? It's a simple quarterly, let's put some more words to it, simple quarterly investment yield, the caterpillar rate. When we divide by 1, what are we left with? We're left with what I call the chrysalis rate. It kind of looks like a chrysalis, doesn't it? With the parentheses around it. And it's pretty easy to know that number because we're only dividing by 1, but let's put some more words to it. Let's put a name to it. It's still a simple quarterly investment yield. And when we add 1 and add the square brackets, we need to figure out the value for lowercase n. We want to make the jump from a simple quarterly investment yield to a true monthly investment yield. So lowercase n takes the value of 1/3. And when we work this out, we get 0.004149, which is 0.4149. I guess if we wanted to add a couple more places out here, we could add 43%. And that is a true, let's fill in the blank, monthly investment yield. So let's complete the third window of the TVM wallet. 0 for PMT payment because there's no annuity here. Let's put an M in the subscript for uppercase N to remind us how we're telling time. So 120 doesn't really mean anything if we don't know how we're telling time in between time period markers. But because we're telling time in between time period markers with a monthly time span, only a true monthly investment yield works. And so we subscript uppercase N with an M to remind ourselves that that 120 value, that means months. In my trusty HP 12C financial calculator, I need to input the percentage format. So 0.4149%. We'll just go with that. And when we solve for future value, we get $1,643,619.44. So there we go. Let's move on to the double check. Now this double check is going to be a different kind of double check. And I'll show you what I mean here in a little bit. We're going to start by writing the building block true investment yield equation. I'm going to show you what I mean by this bad habit of transposing. So we started here with the simple quarterly investment yield. We divided by 1 because we were told to assume quarterly compounding. So we started with the caterpillar rate, that was a simple quarterly investment yield. The chrysalis rate after we divide it by 1 is still a simple quarterly investment yield. But in your calculator, if you were to take 1 and divide by 3, you could make the mistake of using a value of 0.3 for lowercase n, and then subtracting 1, and that is that works out to 0.003733, or 0.3733%. If you remember the value that we calculated for I, the true monthly investment yield, in the TVM wallet, it's quite a bit larger than this value. So let's go and now let's use the building block future value equation to not really double check our work, but to show you where this could go wrong. Trust me that the answer that we found in the TVM wallet is correct. So future value equals present value times 1 plus I, that's the true investment yield raised to the power of uppercase N. So if we wanted to calculate the future value 10 years from now, and you calculated this true monthly investment yield, so we got to raise this to the power of 120, right? Because we're telling time with a monthly time span in between time period markers. You would have calculated for a future value $1,563,943.82. I'm not going to circle that because that's not the correct answer. The correct answer is $1,643,619.44. And what went wrong here was transposing. And this isn't the only place that it shows up. It shows up in other places too when one is using their financial calculator. But this is what went wrong. This is what was missing. So that would have gotten the right answer. Even this is wrong. This will get you a different answer and it won't be the right one. But this is the extreme rounding that I was referring to that definitely is a bad habit. So that's a wrap. If you liked what you learned in this lesson, please consider telling your friends about this channel, TVM Rules, and the book that made it possible. Students have told me that some teachers want to see 5 digits to the right of the decimal point when solving for or writing an investment yield, for example. Since Would Your Boomerang Return is all about improving how the time value of money is learned and taught, we decided to up the ante and make it 6 digits. 6 is the new 5. If you haven't purchased your copy yet, all the important information on this all-important topic is gift-wrapped within the cover of Would Your Boomerang Return. Until next time, enjoy the gift that is the present.